Aloha, Sandra here. Today I want to do some things to play with balance. And all you need for this is something to do a calf stretch on, nothing else. Or perhaps a wall or a chair to practice balance. So we're going to start today with mountain pose, having your thing for the calf stretch within reach. This is the thing I'm going to use today. I forgot what it's called. It's got little bumps. It's handy, it's light. My friend Ginny told me about it. She'll remind me what the name is one day. All right, so you're going to start with your hips over your heels, right? Mountain pose, lower ribs, hip points, pubic bone. And then lengthen up with your spine, and then go ahead and take the ball of your foot onto your lift. Keep the feet parallel with each other. Ground down to lift up. If you don't feel the stretch in the front leg, take the back leg a little further forward. So just stay with me a little bit. You might take your hands behind your head, reach your elbows wide, lengthen up with your spine. Breathe. Why are we doing calf stretches? We're practicing balance because yes, our calves affect our balance quite a bit. When they're tight, it's harder to balance. Okay, and then go ahead and release. Roll your shoulders a few times. Good thing to do in the transition. And second side. So second side, take your right foot to the left side of whatever lift you're using. And stand with the other foot as parallel as possible. Find that mountain pose. Feet grounding down, spine lengthening up. And then take your left foot a little forward. Just to the point where you feel like, oh, this is an interesting challenge. I'm keeping my hips over my heels. I feel a stretch in my leg, but I'm not going to fall down. And then go ahead and release. Put the block off to the side and stand with your feet about hips distance apart. Bring your hands to your hips. Let's lengthen up again with the spine. And then keep your spine long. Begin to circle around your ankles. So what I mean by that is you're keeping everything lengthening like mountain pose. And the point of movement is your ankles. So that's one of the reasons we did the calf stretch first, is in order to be able to move, especially when you move forward, you need more mobility in the calves to be able to lean forward. And then switch directions. And come back to center. And then let's open up the feet a little bit more. So I'd like you to take your left foot back, open up the top of the foot. So I don't know if you're wondering, as I said, we're going to do balance practices, and all we're doing right now is some joint mobility and stretching. Why? Because that informs our balance. All right, so once you're here, top of the left foot back, you can bend the front knee a little bit, get a little bit more stretch at the top of the foot. When you have more foot mobility, you're on an area that's a little tentative balance, you can move and shake and find the spot, as opposed to if it's hard, you just topple over. Okay, second side. Up and down a few times. These are also great things to do before you go for a walk or go for a run. Even just choosing one of them. You may find over time that one of them works better for you than another. Or you may find different times of the day or different, just whatever your body, what you've been doing, you might choose one, because we don't always have time to do everything. But now we have time to wiggle our toes. Good. All right, so now that we've done the top of the feet, let's do a little more with the ankles. Take your feet a little bit wider, and we're going to do an ankle tilt onto the outer edge of the ankle. And I'll just show you a little up close what I mean by that is this area of your ankle, you want it to reach out. Not the most beautiful angle to see someone at, but you see, I can't do it with my foot in there, but this is a part of my ankle that's pushing out to the side. And I'm trying to make the movement from my ankle, not, the leg is going to move a little bit, but not a lot. And then I'm going to do the other side. Now in Z Health, what they would do would be spend actually a good amount of time figuring out what ankle and what position of the ankle makes a big difference. That's something, if you're curious about, ask me and I can help you go through it. But now what I'd like you to do is take your left foot forward, internally rotate it, and give a little, that outer ankle tilt. Come back to center and do the same thing on the right. Take your right foot forward, internally rotate, and outer ankle tilt. 2, 3, 4. Good. And back to center. Now one more. This time take your left leg back, internally rotate it here. And this is a little trickier. Can you do the outer ankle tilt here? If anything doesn't feel good, stop. If you have an injury in an ankle and one area is overly sensitive, of course, don't do anything that causes harm, discomfort. Otherwise, go to the second side. Outer ankle. 2, 3, 4. All right, and then come back to center. Feet grounding, spine lengthening. And let's try those ankle circles again. Just finding mountain pose, keeping the feet on the ground. You might feel as you go that you have more weight on the ball of the base of the toes, and then more weight transfers around to the heel. And then go the other direction. Another thing about ankle tilts, it connects to the gluteal muscles, which is where we're going next. So that when you do those ankle tilts, it helps wake up these side glutes, which are essential for balance. So give yourself a little shake, a little shimmy. And now what I'd like you to do is to lift your right leg, so we're going to pay attention to the left hip. So you might need to hold on to something, that's fine. We're going to wake up this outer hip a little by doing hip lift, which means you're going to take your left thigh down to lift the right leg up, and then come back to neutral. Again, the left thigh goes down, right leg comes up. And go slow, take your time, so you come down to where your hip points are even, then the left hip goes down to lift the right hip. That's 4. Sometimes slow and deliberate is a lot better than fast. Although sometimes fast is more fun. But sometimes slow can be really fun. Okay, 2 more times. I think that would be 7. Down. And 1 more. Down to lift the hip up. And release, shake, and shimmy. All right, roll your shoulders around once, twice, second side. Go ahead and bend the left knee up. So it looks like from the side. I'm taking this hip down to lift the opposite leg up. So I'm just holding this leg gently up. If that hurts in any way in your groin, you can have that leg straight out as well. Sometimes I do this with a block, but if you don't have something nearby, it's an opportunity to do it wherever you can find a place to stand. So 2 more. Down and down. So hopefully that area's a little more awake. Give it a little shake and shimmy. And then take your feet a little wider. 3 hip circles to the left. And 3 hip circles to the right. All right, so we've done some of their feet, our ankles, our hips. Another place that's really important for balance is the belly. So I'd like you to take a nice inhalation. As you exhale, consider the possibility of bringing your hip points towards each other to engage some of the lower belly muscles. Let's do that 2 more times. So that's kind of a controlled way to engage the belly, but another way to engage the belly that is more organically natural is to shift how your weight is on your feet, because then the center, the core of the body is going to engage to help with that. So what I'd like you to do is, again, start in mountain pose, hips over heels. Now, if you find that hard, again, hold on to something. You may find that your toes come off. And then begin to shift your weight forward onto the ball of your toes. Keep your heels on the ground, like a big wind is coming behind, but you're rooted to the ground. And as you do this, keep the center of your body in the same plane. So no escaping, no rib poking on, nothing. You may find that when you do this, your belly starts to engage a little more. And that's what gives you the ability to go just a tiny bit further once you've lengthened your calves. All right, come back. Well, let's do that 2 more times. So begin to shift your weight forward. Keep your spine long. Maybe take your arms by your side. This time almost feels like Superman about to take off. Find the belly to help you come forward. And then come on back. And one more time. Shift the weight. Whoa. And then back to center. And then go the other way, go backwards. I can't go very far going backwards. But you may notice different parts of the belly engage when you go backwards. Reach down with the fingertips, shoulder blades down the back. Take your chin back. Lengthen the back of your neck. Come back to center. And again, try going backwards a little bit without collapsing. Back to center, and one more time, shift your weight back. Okay, so we could spend the whole hour going in different directions, different permutations of all of these things. But for now, we're going to play with just a few more, which is diagonal. So we're going to go diagonally to the left. Encouraging the feet to stay as parallel as possible. Come back to center. Let's do that one more time, diagonally to the left. So I'm going this way. And then diagonally to the right. So forward and to the right. So there is a little more weight on the right leg than the left, but both feet are still staying on the ground. And then diagonally back to the left. Whoa, I feel that right here. It's kind of fun to notice just where are you feeling it when you're in those different positions. And then again, back into the left. Back to center, okay, and then back into the right. And back into the right. And now, just move, explore on your own, going different directions. Keeping your feet on the ground. Encourage your belly to just be part of the party. A lot of times when we balance, or we're a little off balance, we tend to grip our jaw and not necessarily use this part of the body. That can be very helpful. Okay, again, a little shake and shimmy. Take your legs even wider, a few bigger hip circles. It isn't normal to stand still for a long time. Not that we're standing still, but still we're standing in one plane, other direction. So it might feel good to move a few other parts of your body. Oh, and we have a little parrot who joined the class. That's okay, we'll just let her stay here for a little bit and see what happens, how she enjoys balance. This is Sunny. If you haven't met Sunny, she's one of my new roommates. Oh, Sunny likes earrings. So I'm going to have to take a little break and come back because otherwise she'll eat my earring. Excuse me. Sunny went back to go practice balance elsewhere. She's actually very, very good at balancing on one leg. Speaking of which, let's see how you do balancing on one leg now after all those things we've done. So go ahead and lift your right leg off the ground and just check yourself out. Notice what it's like. Play with that balance a little bit. And release. And then do the same thing on the other side. Take the left leg on up. Good. And then release. Give a little shake and shimmy. Roll your shoulders a few times. And let's play with a few of the more classic balancing poses, combining some of the things we've done. So we'll start with tree pose. So go ahead and bend your left knee, spiral your thigh, and then take your foot to the inner ankle. And now here's where we tend to sink. So wake this area up and bring your foot either below or above your knee. Press your foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot, palms together. And take a moment to hang out here. Play with the balance. Now if you want a little extra challenge, you can add some vestibular work, which we haven't talked about too much today, but your inner ear affects your balance quite a bit too. You may take your head side to side. You can find that's challenging my balance. You might move your arms around and take your head side to side. All right, and then like all trees, eventually they come down to the ground. So stand on both feet, and let's do the other side. Bend your right knee, spiral the thigh, foot to the ankle, below the knee, above the knee. Just want to be careful not to put it on the knee. Give yourself a little reminder. Playing here with balance. Again, maybe move your head if you find balance is simple. Otherwise, stay where you're at. This time I'm doing diagonals, which is a little bit different than looking side to side. A little figure eight. Ooh, that's harder. And then release. A little shake and shimmy. So eyes have a huge effect on balance. We haven't done much yet with our eyes closed, so now is the time. I'd like you to stand first with your feet parallel, close your eyes. Now I know for some people that is a good enough challenge. Otherwise, bring your feet together. And then create those circles again around the ankles. Circling around. I'm finding I can feel my feet a little bit more with my eyes closed, but it's actually a little harder to get that full circle range of movement. Part of it is I feel a little more tentative because I cannot see, and it's actually my brain does not feel as safe, so it's not willing to go as far, but it's good practice to do that. All right, and then go ahead and open your eyes. From here we're going to do what's called in medical circles the Romberg test, which is where you take your one foot in front of the other. So take your left foot in front of your right and then place it directly in front of your right. So actually the left foot touches the right toes. And check out your balance here. Feel your feet grounding down, spine lengthening, and then extra challenge is to close your eyes. Notice how your balance is. Wherever you are, breathe. This is a good practice, whether your eyes are open or whether your eyes are closed, whether your heel's touching your toes or it's a little bit further in front. Now, one thing you can pay attention to is how are you using that side glute and the belly? Can you invoke them to be part of the movement to help you balance here? Right, that was a good amount of time. Go ahead and release that. A little shake and shimmy. And then over to the other side. Go ahead and take your right foot forward, maybe a little forward or maybe right in front of the toes. Close your eyes or leave them open. Play with the balance. You may notice it was easier on one side than the other. Two reasons for that. One is, well, many reasons, but one is you just may be tired after doing this practice. So there comes a point where things get harder because your body is tired and needs to rest. Or there just might be imbalances on the two sides. Whoa, yeah, that one was harder for me today. I can find all sorts of reasons by which I don't need to. Like, well, they could be true for you too. Like, it's at the end of the day, you're hungry, you're tired. Those are all reasons why our balance might not be as good. Okay, so go ahead and release that. Little shake and shimmy. We've been doing a lot of kind of stiff movements, so go ahead and just move around a little. Whatever parts feel good to move. And we'll do one more big standing thing, big asana. Just take up lots of space. Breathe. Roll your arms so your palms face up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands to your hips. Walk your feet together. And take a moment just to stand here. Find balance on 2 feet. Either with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And then bring your palms together over your heart. Draw your chin towards your chest as you lengthen the back of your neck. Take a nice inhalation. Exhale, shoulder blades release down, spine lengthens. Next inhalation, lift your head again. Let your eyes open. Take your arms by your side. And give a little shake for having done a balance practice. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me today. So I wanted to share with you some things about balance. I focused today on the more biomechanical aspects of balance. That's why we did joint movements and things. It also is neurological and how the joint movements affect the brain. But there are other techniques to play with, especially vestibular movements that I'll share another time. But these are great to practice, especially if the belly, the ankles, the feet, all of those, and the side glutes are super important for balance. So I think I said already, sometimes I have trouble ending. I keep rambling on. I'm acknowledging that while I continue to ramble on. I want to say that sometimes just practicing one of those things that we did when you've got 30 seconds here or there can be great for helping improve your balance. So thanks for watching. Till next time, aloha.